Everyone, Mr. Silva here, and this is the PowerPoint recording for Module 2 on HTML5 coding, and this is Lesson 1 of the unit. So in this unit, we talk about HTML and what are the basics and fundamentals of HTML. We get into a little bit of the basics of it. We don't go into too much detail about it. You know, talking about tags and things of that. So we'll talk about the basics of coding in HTML, how you do it, how you set it up, and the importance of order and things of that nature. When you are making a website in HTML5, you need to make sure you understand the concept of the fact that pages are documents. When you make a website, all it is you are creating a document. Let's say you're making a Word document. Imagine if you took all of those Word documents and put them together and called it a website. That's essentially what you're doing. You're taking documents that you write in the code, and then you're going to put them on the internet, and that makes your web page because they're all linked together. The first page is always called the home page. This is common knowledge, as we know. And we use what's called HTML5 whenever we're doing HTML. So the first thing we'll talk about is elements and markup tags. HTML elements are part of a document, and they provide content and the attributes. Without the elements, you would have no page. Each element provides meaning to the page, and the elements are interpreted by web browsers so it shows up properly. If you don't do it correctly, then your website will be missing things or won't show up at all. HTML essentially is a collection of elements. The structure of HTML. Most HTML elements have a start and an end tag, and we call those markup tags. Markup tags enclose elements in angle brackets. They're called wickets. You may recall that I call them like the sideways signs or the greater than or less than signs. Whatever helps you remember it. Tags embed the information so that it will show on the page. Everything must be in the tags in order for it to code properly. If you don't have it contained within the tags, it's not going to show up correctly. So for example, I give you strong. The text between the start and the end tag of the strong element appears in bold when viewed in a web browser. All of the text in the tags will be bold. So the tags essentially say, hey, I want to start doing this like this. Since we use strong here, it's saying, hey, the next part that's going to be is going to be in bold font. So the tags help recognize what is being highlighted or what's being accented or what needs to be different. So as you see, as a result, because of that, it would show up in bold text on the web page because you used the strong tag. Next, let's talk about container tags and empty tags. Container tags are tags in pairs. They're starting and ending tags. You may recall in class, I used to call them the Tupperware tags because they're containers and they hold things. And a Tupperware has a lid and it has a base. So when you think of it that way, the lid and the base, they're together. They keep things together. And so that would be the same way. A container tag would sandwich all of your code. So think of it like a Tupperware container or a storage container where you have a lid and you have the container itself. You put your food and stuff in it, and then you close it. That's what's contained in it, and it's a container tag. We also have empty tags, and these are tags that stand alone. These do not directly format a block of text. Container tags are usually more for big text areas, whereas empty tags usually just have one, they need to stand alone, and there's not really going to be any difference in formatting in the text. So, what makes a tag? An element, which is the main instruction of the tag. So your body tag, your paragraph tag, your H1 tag, so on and so forth. That's the element. The element's what's contained within, it's the first part. An attribute, a quality, or it describes a certain aspect of the element. In this case, A is the tag, or the element, and href is the attribute. Then lastly, we have the value. This gives a value to the element and to its attribute. So ahref and then weather.com. This one isn't done correctly because the values need to be in quotes. But on the next slide, um, still need to put it in quotes. I'll have to fix that later. But the green is the element, so this is the A, not the tag. The red is the attribute, and the orange is the value. It always goes in this format: element, attribute, value. Okay. Now, some things will not have values, and sometimes things will not have attributes, but there will always, always, always be an element. Okay. In summary, tags are the foundation for HTML. Tags consist of an element, an attribute, and/or value. Some have all three, and some have none. It just depends on how the tag it is. But there will always be an element. And there are container tags, and there are empty tags. All right, that's going to do it for this lesson.